जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivachikacharya Tatara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Radha Kalachandji Dham Ki Jai, Brihat Mridanga Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Yamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 7, Text 22. The chapter is Lord Shiva Saves the Universe. Tvam ekaha sarva jagataha ishvaraha bandha mokshayo tam tvam archanti kushalaha prapana arti haram gurum tvam eka sarva jagata ishvaro bandha mokshayo tam tvam archaranti kushalaha prapanarti haram gurum tvam eka sarva jagata ishvaro bandha mokshayo tam tvam archaranti kushalaha prapanarti haram gurum tvam eka sarva jagata ishvaro bandha mokshayo tam tvam arachanti kushalaha prapanarti haram gurum tvam eka sarva jagata ishvaro bandha mokshayo tam tvam archaranti kushalaha prapanarti haram gurum tvam eka sarva jagata kushalaha prapanarti haram gurum eka sarva jagata mokshayo ishvaro brahma mokshaya tam tam archaranti kushala prapanarti haram gurum tameka sarva jagata ishvaro bandha mokshayo tam tam archaranti kushala prapanarti haram gurum tvam eka. Your lordship is indeed sarva jagataha, of the three worlds, ishvaraha, the controller, bandha mokshayo, of both bondage and liberation, tam, that controller, tvam archaranti, worship you, kushalaha, persons who want good fortune, prapana arti, haram, who can mitigate all the distresses of a sheltered devotee, gurum, you who act as a good advisor to all fallen souls. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O Lord, this is being spoken to Lord Shiva. O Lord, you are the cause of bondage and liberation. to the entire universe because you are its ruler. Those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness surrender unto you, and therefore you are the cause of mitigating their distresses, and you are also the cause of their liberation. We therefore worship your lordship. Purport. Actually, Lord Vishnu maintains and accomplishes all good fortune. If one has to take shelter of Lord Vishnu, why should the demigods take shelter of Lord Shiva? They did so because Lord Vishnu acts through Lord Shiva in the creation of the material world. Lord Shiva acts on behalf of Lord Vishnu. When the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 14.4 that he is the father of all living entities, aham bija pradapita, this refers to actions performed by Lord Vishnu through Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is always unattached to material activities, and when material activities are to be performed, Lord Vishnu performs them through Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is therefore worshipped on the level of Lord Vishnu. When Lord Shiva is untouched by the external energy, he is Lord Vishnu. Oh, sorry. That doesn't make any sense. When Lord Vishnu is untouched by the external energy, he is Lord Vishnu. But when he is in touch with the external energy, he appears in his feature as Lord Shiva. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadah Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyutaf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Dhanavirga Swaminiti Namane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtata Desatarine. So we're hearing the prayers that the demigods are saying to Lord Shiva because he was chosen to drink this Kala Kuta poison that was produced from the churning of the milk ocean in order to save the universe. If you look at the beginning of this, the first purport actually in this chapter, it gives the origin of veganism, just for a fun fact if anyone wants to check it out. It came from the demons. As we also see in the Bhagavatam, the same place homosexuality came from. The demons when they were produced from Lord Brahma. So all these origins of different things are there, even though sometimes people might not want to hear them because different things are trendy in modern culture, like veganism and so on. But that's there in the first purport. And we've been trying to distribute the Srimad Bhagavatam as often as possible. And we go to a lot of these... And that's an important thing to do because even Srila Prabhupada, he's saying, I was listening to one recording, and he's saying that when I was distributing my books, people were taking full standing orders. And he said some amount, like 14 standing orders, or it was a lot. And standing order means, at one place Srila Prabhupada says, standing order means standing respect, like a standing ovation. Because they're saying, okay, I trust this person and look up to this person, Srila Prabhupada, so much that whatever books he's producing in the future, I want to make sure I have those, even though they're not even out yet. So he was saying, I was taking standing orders. They're ordering all of his books, even the ones that aren't produced yet. But for some reason, these boys and girls aren't distributing the full sets. He said, I don't know why I was doing the full standing order. It's not, he made it sound very not difficult. And we see people do take the Bhagavatam when we just bring it out and present it. So it does. Srila Prabhupada said he made it sound easy, and it's certainly possible. So when we're distributing the Srimad Bhagavatam, or begging Krishna to be used as an instrument to give his mercy to the fallen conditioned souls in the material world in the form of book distribution. We notice a lot of people at these spiritual festivals that we'll go to, or spiritual conventions, they're interested in different things like Lord Shiva, and they're often interested in drugs. And on the cover of one of the Srimad Bhagavatams, here it is. There's a very beautiful picture of Lord Shiva saving the universe by drinking this Kala Kutta poison from the churning of the milk ocean. So I've been speaking about this picture for like the past month, because when we meet different people, some of them have tattoos of drugs on them, or sometimes tattoos of poisonous insects like scorpions and spiders. And I start telling them about this pastime because we hear in here how when this poison fell from Lord Shiva's hands, some of it fell to the ground and produced all types of toxic plants and venomous creatures. So it's the origin of these things. And that at least one person, that was pretty much the only thing she heard about it, and then she took the Bhagavatam, so that was nice. So in the middle of the purport, Srila Prabhupada was explaining how Lord Shiva, that sentence that I think is the one that I messed up. Or yeah, here right in the middle. That Lord Shiva acts on behalf of Lord Vishnu, and that Lord Vishnu, he's the Ahambija Pradapita. He's the father, the seed-giving father of all living entities. And when Lord Vishnu interacts with the material nature, that activity is performed through Lord Shiva. So we hear how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, glances upon the material energy, and in this way, he impregnates the spiritual living entities into the material, into matter, into the material energy. And so it's explained that his glance that impregnates, that comes in contact with the material nature, that's Lord Shiva. So he performs these activities through Lord Shiva, and that analogy is given like yogurt and milk. So milk is the most nutritious foodstuff, although we hear in the first purport that the demons try to say it's not nutritious, and more nutritious is the meat of animals. So when milk is mixed with some sort of culture or tamarind, it becomes yogurt. And they're both, you could say they're both milk, but you can't do the same function of one. You're not going to make sweet rice with yogurt. At least I haven't seen that, or some other preparation that requires milk. So like that, Lord Vishnu is compared to the milk, and Lord Shiva is compared to the yogurt. And we also see that Lord Shiva, he presides over the mode of ignorance in the material world. And also in this way, he helps many very fallen living entities who are in the most peculiar mode, as Srila Prabhupada words it in the Bhagavad Gita, the most peculiar mode of nature, the mode of ignorance, where they're completely forgetful of who they are, what is the purpose of life. When they want to do the right thing, they do the wrong thing, these kind of things. Lord Shiva takes charge of them to uplift them, the different kinds of ghosts and scary type of creatures. So I heard my spiritual master compare him to someone who, if some living entity has fallen into the sewer, like a pet animal or a child or something, if someone goes down into that sewer to rescue them, they're not shamed, like, oh, look how dirty this person is, he's gone in the sewer, he's covered in dirt and all that. But actually they're saying, oh wow, what a nice hero. He's gone down into this messy situation to bring up this person who was in danger. So that is like Lord Shiva. And so what's going on here with the demigods, they're praying to him with this great awe and reverence, and it can be a little confusing because they're saying things like, even in the last text, it says, "O greatest of all demigods, Mahadev, super soul of all living entities, and cause of their happiness and prosperity, we have come to the shelter of your lotus feet. Now, please save us from this fiery poison which is spreading all over the three worlds." So it can be a little confusing. It seems like they're saying he's the supreme or the super soul, But we're hearing that whatever special power one is endowed with is coming from Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva specifically is deputed to perform these great activities and to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is one of the Ishvaras. This is in the previous purport. Lord Shiva is one of the Ishvaras, or the controllers, known as Shaktivesh avatars. Therefore, he can be addressed as having the qualities of Lord Vishnu. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu, he's investing Lord Shiva with his potency or his power of attorney, so he can act on his behalf. We hear that the spiritual master, he's like that, he's invested with the power of attorney from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you want to meet some great personality like the president, if you speak to their secretary and they tell you he will meet you on such and such, October 14th at 7 a.m., then you know that promise or his word is just as good as the president personally saying it himself, because he's been given the power of attorney. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada gives many instructions, like if you attend Mangalarti, you come to the temple programs, you read his books, distribute his books, take only Krishna Prasadam, chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, don't eat food cooked by non-devotees, follow the 4 regulative principles strictly. You do these things and it's assured you'll go back to home, back to Godhead at the end of this lifetime. So we can be certain that promise is sure. It's just as good as if Krishna's saying it himself. And we can see that with all of Srila Prabhupada's instructions. So Krishna, he's the proprietor. That's why when they're praying to Lord Shiva, all these different things, that you're the mitigator of our distresses and all of these things, we know that Krishna is actually the one who gives such a power. So it's important to know who to worship. And Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Sataya Shradaya Yuktas Tasya Radhanam Ihate Labate Cha Tata Kaman Mayaiva Vihitan Hitan. This is Bhagavad Gita 7:22. Endowed with such a faith, when he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So he's the one that's actually giving these things. Whatever the demigods get, or whatever any personality gets and can give to others, that in actuality is being supplied by Krishna. He's the possessor of all opulences. So it's not that they independently have some power or something to give to somebody. So we have to know who to worship. If we're worshiping Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's perfect. He's the proprietor of everything. He's the one who's fully in control. So if one, like the demigods, they're requesting some help, and Lord Shiva is getting the power to help them from Krishna. So if I'm worshiping some not God as God, then I'm making a big mistake. For instance, if I'm worshiping like Swami Narayan, then I'm a big fool. Or if I'm worshiping Sai Baba, then I'm also an idiot. Just to be straightforward about it. Because, why? What's the reason? Because I'm accepting someone who's not God as God. So recently, some devotee was showing, there was some video of some new incarnation who popped up in India. There's always new incarnations coming out. So this one, he looked just like a teenage boy. And he was surrounded by like hundreds of followers who are just feeding him, and he's sitting on a couch wearing some shorts and a t-shirt. And it looks like he could be like, eating like ladus or potato chips and playing Fortnite. He just looks like a moded out, like a Tamagoon teenager. So that's not God. And you could say, well, why? God can't wear, shorts and play video games and this and that. No, he doesn't, because he's the supreme enjoyer. So he doesn't need some game or some sort of mundane material thing where you can act as the supreme controller and zap a bunch of people on like a mind-numbing screen. He doesn't need that in order to enjoy. And he, one second, I wrote some note about this kid. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. He also doesn't wear shorts because he wears a dhoti that's the color of lightning, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we see these bogus incarnations, it's pretty obvious that they're not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And another reason, of course, if we just think about it with some common sense, we can see whatever incarnation there's going to be is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam and the other Vedic literatures. It gives it, as Srila Prabhupada explains, their incarnationness is described. You can hear this recording if you look up Srila Prabhupada letter to Sai Baba. He's doing it's recorded while they're typing up this letter, and he's saying, recently there's some newspaper in India saying that God is an Indian. And then he goes on to ask him, what are your qualifications for saying that you're God? Where in the Vedas is your incarnation? And they make up a new word. I think it's Srila Prabhupada, and I think his name started with a P. It could have been, was Pradyumna his secretary for some time? I'm not so sure, but so Srila Prabhupada and one of his disciples, they make up this word. Not make it up, but just kind of adjusting the English language a little bit. This he says, how can we say this word avataratva, something like this, which means his qualities of being an avatar. And the Srila Prabhupada's disciple says, well, the most straightforward way of saying that would be incarnationness. So they use this word a lot in the letter, saying that Lord Rama's incarnationness is described in the Vedas, Lord Krishna's incarnationness is described, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnationness is described. So where do you get the claim for your incarnationness? And he gives so many other arguments about it. For instance, this bogus person, I'll just call him Guy Baba, I don't want to say his name anymore, this Guy Baba, he's saying that I have all of the strength of the unmanifest God, or no, the formless God. And Srila Prabhupada says, where in Bhagavad Gita does it say that God is unmanifest or formless? All throughout Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is describing his personality, his form. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So where is it saying that he's formless? And so he calls out so many other dumb things that this guy, Baba, says. At one point, he says that God, everyone is actually God, they've just forgotten. So Srila Prabhupada says, well, how can God forget? How can he be forgetful? So yeah, worshipping them would make someone very much foolish. I can maybe I can pull up some more Prabhupada quotes about them a little bit later. But then one other thing is that if one worships the demigods, going without any conception of Krishna consciousness, if one worships demigods, they're lusty, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7, text 20. Kamaistaister hritagyana prapadyante nyadevataha. Those who are blinded by lusty desires surrender unto the demigods, unto different demigods. That's one of the translations Srila Prabhupada gives. And another place in Bhagavad Gita, Antavat tu palam tesham, this is 723, Tad bhavat yalpamedasam, devan devo yajo yanti madbhakta yanti mam api. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So their intelligence, if I'm worshiping a demigod, I don't have very much intelligence. And whatever I'm going to get is going to be temporary, because they also have a temporary form. They have to die at some point. They're great personalities because they're devotees and they're invested with great power by Krishna. But if one can just worship the supremely great personality, then what is the need to go after something temporary? And if someone wants some material thing, then it's not devotion. Like you can't say I'm a Shiva devotee or I'm a Durga devotee or I'm any of the other demigod devotees, because it's not devotion. It's coming from lust. They want some material desire. So you could say I'm a Shiva customer. That's perfect. Yeah, I'm a Shiva customer. Because they're just asking this person to get something in return. And you can see that too. They do some big festival and then they just throw with some deity and then they just throw it in like the river right afterwards or something like this. Just get rid of it or don't really take much care of it. And another misconception that goes along the lines of, because people can hear, okay, see, they're worshiping this demigod, so I can worship whoever, I can worship this guru and that Swami and Guru Brahma, Guru, whatever that verse is that they like to say. If you distribute books at the Indian store, many people like this verse, Guru Brahma, Guru something, trying to say that, you can say that anybody is God. They like to use these different things to justify it. His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj has explained before that that what's known as Hinduism today is an elaborate Vedic excuse to not surrender to Krishna, or to avoid surrender to Krishna. So we see this is very apparent today. So one of these other, you could say, modern Hindu myths is that if I think Krishna is the Supreme Personality, if I think Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a manifestation of Brahman, then again I'm less intelligent or dull. And Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita. Avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyante mam abudayaha param bhavam ajananto mamavyayam anutamam. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So a less intelligent person is thinking there's this unmanifest oneness, which does exist. It's the bodily rays of Krishna, the Brahma Jyoti. It's his own effulgence. It's coming from him. That's why in the Ishopanishad you see the devotee is praying, please, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pahitam mukham Tattvam pushana pavrinu satyadharmaya drishtaye, something like that. I might have messed it up. But he's praying that please retract your effulgence, or please clear it away so that I can see through it and see your true form, your beautiful smiling face. He's praying this to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a less intelligent person thinks there's this oneness, this Brahman, and from that oneness, Krishna popped out. It's like, I had some idea like that when I first read an abridged children's version of the Krishna book. This was the first relation to Srila Prabhupada's books I had in college. It was talking about how this God, he's a person, and he's doing all these activities. I was thinking, like, I thought there was like some oneness or something, so maybe that oneness has like made this person. But no, Krishna explains, unintelligent people are thinking like that. He has his original spiritual form from which everything is emanating. And another weird idea is that if I think Krishna God, the God, has incarnated in a body of flesh and blood to have the human experience and show us that he feels our happiness and our distress. It's so weird. But there's this idea, it's some sort of like Jesus Hinduism mix match, that the God has come in flesh and blood as Krishna, and he's showing us how to, enjoy the world. But Krishna also says that such people are mudhas. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanum ashritam prambhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. So his form is transcendental. It's Satchid Ananda, as we hear in the prayers by none other than the original created being in this material universe, Lord Brahma. He explains that Krishna's form, it's not matter, but it's Satchid Ananda. It's eternal, full of knowledge, all cognizant, and all blissful. And just one of his senses, as we sing every morning, Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti, just one of his senses can perform the activities of all the other senses. So it's certainly not a material body. And I'm not sure where that strange idea has come from. But many people of a Hindu background at colleges like to say this one when you go and preach Krishna consciousness at the colleges. And just one more verse. Srila Prabhupada gives this in the purport to this verse about Krishna's transcendental form, this same one, just a little down in the purport. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:120. Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshavaha ati martyani bhagavan gudha kapata manushaha. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked he performed many superhuman acts. So he's like a player on a stage. He's carrying out his play, acting like a human being. And therefore, some of the demigods become very bewildered. Like Lord Brahma, he's thinking, we were praying for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come, and now I see there's this cowherd boy, and he's being dragged around sometimes by the cows in the mud as a kid, and all day he's running around in the pasturing grounds. What is going on? And so he performs kind of a test to see if it's really the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So because Krishna is putting on this play, some people can become bewildered. And I wanted to share a quote from Srila Prabhupada about, again, these Sai Baba and Swami Narayan people and these other kinds of guys. So Srila Prabhupada says, Sai Baba, he also says, I am Bhagavan. Therefore, he is bogus. How you can say yourself that you are Bhagavan, God? What is your power? What you have shown? And this is cheap. Now, supposing Sai Baba is God, so people accept him God. Why? Because he shows some jugglery. He creates little gold. Is it not? So if by creating gold he is God, then there is bigger God who has created gold mine. Why shall I go to this tiny God? I must go to the big God who has created gold mine. This is common sense. But foolish people, they have no common sense even. Therefore it is called mudha. Mudha na bhajananti mam ebhya paramavyayam. And also, if someone lets others call him God, like if someone lets their followers say, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that person is also a fool. And Srila Prabhupada explains this in his morning walks with Dr. Patel in Bombay. Because Dr. Patel, he's always getting angry. And he was saying that, no, with this Swami Narayan, they're just saying that he's, he didn't say he's God, his followers said he's God, but then Srila Prabhupada explains, then what is your position? If you're allowing others to say that you're God, then you're also a fool. And there's also a nice Srila Prabhupada memory in this connection from Memories of a Modern Day Saint, Volume 1 by Siddhanta Prabhu, about when some of these people came to visit Srila Prabhupada. In Bombay, 2 Swami Narayan sannyasis came to see Prabhupada. In the Swami Narayan camp, a sannyasi is never allowed to look at the face of a woman. If they do, they have to fast the next day. In the Swami Narayan temples, women listen from the other side of a curtain. We see that was the tradition actually in India not too long ago, that when even when a doctor was doing some sort of a prescription, if the patient was a woman, they would diagnose them from the side of like what we put up when someone's dressing Srila Prabhupada. Because in the Vedic culture, it's understood that the background of this whole material existence, this material entanglement that the conditioned souls find themselves in, is this attraction between man and woman, sex desire, and that's what's keeping the living entities bound in this material world. Therefore, there's Daivi Varnashram Dharma in Vedic culture to give the proper conditions where living entities can disentangle themselves from material life by giving their full attention to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and not to being distracted with sex desire, which is going on in the material world since time immemorial. Prabhupada was in his room talking with Yashomati Nandan and Yashomati Nandan's 70-year-old mother, an old, wrinkled Indian woman. We opened the door, and when these 2 sannyasis saw this old woman, they became disturbed and covered their faces. We said, let's wait. Prabhupada will finish soon, and then you can go in. They went downstairs and waited. When the woman came out, I went upstairs and told Prabhupada these Swami Narayan sannyasis wouldn't come in before when they saw Yashomati Nandan's mother. He said, bring them now, I will talk with them. Prabhupada was very respectful towards them. He said, I'm so sorry, but one of my leading students' elderly mother came to see me. I saw her while her son was present in the room. My sannyasi servant was also here. They said, oh, but we do not see a woman under any circumstances. Prabhupada said, yes, I understand. Lord Chaitanya was also very strict. Then Prabhupada started to ask them questions about their religion, and immediately a confrontation began. They said that Swami Narayan was God. Prabhupada said, "Where in the Srimad Bhagavatam does it say that Swami Narayan is God? I have not seen. I have seen Rama, Nrsimha, Vraha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned in Bhagavatam, but where is Swami Narayan?" They said, "It is in this book." Prabhupada said, "Who has written that book? Is it the Vedas? Is it written by Vyas?" They said, "No, such and such Swami wrote it." Prabhupada said, "Oh, that Swami. Who is he, and what parampara is he from?" Prabhupada was going on, hammering. He wouldn't let them go for a second. They tried to embarrass him by making him feel like he was less than them because he was talking to an elderly woman. He showed them that he was transcendental to talking to an elderly woman. They didn't understand the philosophy, and Prabhupada cut them to rivulets. So, yeah, he completely worked them over. They said, "Oh, okay, we're going to leave, Swamiji. We've had enough now." When they walked out, it was as if their heads had been in a ping-pong game. And then the devotees glorify Srila Prabhupada after that, which is ecstatic. So yeah, we see these things aren't bona fide. And then there's another bogus person, actually. He's in Texas. Because not only just people accepting a person as God, but then sometimes they'll accept a person who's totally bogus as a devotee of God. So there's some sort of Swami whose name means that he's liberated and feeling lots of bliss. But he doesn't look very blissful. He actually looks miserable, and his face is very greasy. And he doesn't look liberated either. When you can hear some of his talks, and he's the type of person who will tell you nice things like, you have to have bhakti for Krishna, and then tell you lots of nice stories, this and that story about how you should have better sadhana, like the tree cutter who sharpened his axe. If you take a little time to sharpen your mind by sadhana, then you'll be very good. And so he'll say all these nice things, and we should bring ourselves to the level of the gopis so that we can dance with Krishna. And then you can come close to Krishna and embrace him. And then you can become one with Krishna. So it's rascal. It's like sweet rice mixed with sand. You give sweet rice, you're talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but then you throw a little sand in it. So no one will appreciate eating that, actually. That's why it's explained that one shouldn't hear from non-devotees about Krishna, or I mean really about most things in general, but sometimes there's some technical help they can give, like how to do your electrical wiring in a building or something like that. But about the Supreme Personality of Godhead or your philosophy of life, one should not hear from non-devotees, because it's like taking milk that's been touched by the lips of a serpent, or like the sweet rice in the sand example. So we're hearing about these different kinds of worship, and Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that yajante sadvika devan yaksha rakshasmi rajasaha pretan bhuta ganams chanye yajante tamasa janaha. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship demons, like some of the people I mentioned. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits, which also goes into that category of some of those people. And in that purport, well, I've kind of read a lot and we're running out of time, but there's a nice part of that purport where I'll just read it because Srila Prabhupada explains the whole situation of worshiping different types of personalities. That's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, text 4. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. We recall that during the Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler because thanks to that war, he amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in the black market. Similarly, those in the modes of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God. They think that anyone can be worshipped as God and that the same results will be obtained. Now it is clearly described here that those who are in the mode of passion worship and create such gods, and those who are in the mode of ignorance and darkness worship dead spirits. I've heard before that that's what the Guy Baba person is some sort of ghost. Sometimes people worship at the tomb of some dead man. Sexual service is also considered to be in the mode of darkness. Similarly, in remote villages in India, there are worshippers of ghosts. We have seen that in India, the lower class people sometimes go to the forest, and if they have knowledge that a ghost lives in a tree, they worship that tree and offer sacrifices. These different kinds of worship are not actually God worship. So, If one wants to eat, they have to supply food to the mouth. Srila Prabhupada has given this example before. If you supply food to the mouth, the whole body is nourished. If you try to put the food in other holes of the body, the ears, nose, anus, it'll be a very precarious situation. So those who are worshiping these babas and swamis and this and that, it's like trying to supply food to the anus. But if they put the food to the mouth, then the body's nourished and they can be healthy. So when one worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, that's the proper place to actually put their love and their devotion and their service. And someone might say, well, why not divide your service among many places? And Srila Prabhupada answered that question. He said, you cannot divide a chaste woman if you could say she's so advanced that she accepts many husbands. But no, a chaste woman, she accepts one husband. So like that, a devotee is chaste to the instructions of the spiritual master and to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he just, that's who he is worshiping, and he repeats what they are saying that's been given in Parampara. So everything is there in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a proper disciplic succession there, not like this so-called blissful, liberated Swami in Texas, where he's coming from some disciplic succession that's not even there. There's like 3 people. There's no actual chain. And the person who his guru is claims to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they worship him as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it doesn't make any sense, because if you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of his deadliest weapons to fight against atheism and impersonalism was his beauty. And you see this person's guru, and he's very ugly. He looks strange. So he's clearly not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if you hear how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's full descriptions. And it's obvious that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he does miraculous activities. So many things. But if you hear this person's activities, they say he can make some ashes, he does some things like this. And you can hear one meeting where Srila Prabhupada met. If you look up Srila Prabhupada meeting guest from Kripalu Ashram, you'll hear his exchange with this guest who comes, and he's very cordial, and he's saying how much he loves Srila Prabhupada. And the whole time, Srila Prabhupada is just smashing his bogus so-called incarnation, so-called guru. But the person, for some reason, he just lets it all happen without any argument. He goes, yes, that is so nice. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, this person, he can never actually achieve the perfection of life. The yogis won't get it. The karmis won't get it. The gyanis won't get it. Only the bhakti yogis. And the person says, yes, this is so nice. And then Srila Prabhupada says, anyway, this person is a false renouncer, acting like they're renouncing so many things, but actually they're enjoying material sense gratification. And then again, this person says, oh, yes, very nice. And then even at one point, Srila Prabhupada says, so he is going to hell. And this person's like, yes, Swamiji. So what is the use of worshiping such people? And I'll just hear one last quote about it from Srila Prabhupada, and then I'll wrap it up there. Srila Prabhupada. Demons, you'll see, the Mohammedans, they worship the tomb, and Christian also, they worship the tomb. They offer wreath to the tomb. So tamasic. What is there in the tomb? But because they are tamasic, they're worshiping like that. And this so-called incarnation worship is also tamasic. By tamasic, in darkness, they accept somebody as incarnation, and they worship. This is tamasic. Devotee, Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada, yes. Devotee, if somebody said to us that you are worshiping samadhi, what is the answer? Prabhupada, samadhi, we are offering respect to the acharyas. Yes, not that we are simply worshiping samadhi. We are worshiping Krishna also, side by side. It is not that. Then samadhi worship is finished. That is acharya. Acharya is, although worshipped as the Supreme Lord, but the Lord is also worshipped. And these Mayavadis, they give up the worship of the Lord. So therefore they are Mayavadis. In Mayavadi temple, you'll find the picture of the Guru and not the picture of Krishna. I've seen in Surat one temple of Rama. There is no Rama. Guru is Rama. That's all. Guru, Brahma, break. Chaitya Guru. Because he has merged into the existence of Lord, he has become Lord. Merging Lord. Daridra Narayan. Merging Narayan. This is devotee. The Jains have the same kind of philosophy also. Prabhupada. Everyone, all philosophies, they are more or less Mayavad. All Mayavad. Different types of Mayavad philosophy. Therefore, they should be discarded. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Or thank you very much, he said. So that was a few points on this, and I think the time to end the class is 8:30, so I can end it, but I just want to mention that on this topic, there's an extremely ecstatic lecture from His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami called God's Competitors, where he smashes this whole Sai Baba idea. I wanted to play 1 minute of it, but I think I went over the time. So if anyone wants to give me permission to play 1 minute of it, I will. Or if there's any question, I think you're in. Okay, cool. Here's just a sneak preview so devotees can get fired up to watch it later. It's Tamal Krishna Goswami, God's Competitors. I can just play it into the mic, right?
Now your teacher says that he is God, but then why does he sing Krishna bhajans? That means he admits that Krishna is the real God. If he says that he's God, he should sing his own bhajans, but he's singing Krishna bhajan. That means Krishna is actually God. Now, how to worship Krishna, that you'll have to learn from the Hare Krishna movement, because this is the standard movement for teaching how to worship Krishna. We don't have a bunch of followers who worship this God and this guru and that guru. Our devotees of the Hare Krishna movement are very clear about who is God. Therefore, they only worship Krishna. They don't follow a little teaching from here and a little teaching from there. This is simply a big hodgepodge. You have so many gods, so many gurus. Utpat. Big hodgepodge of different types of worship. This means many roads, taking so many paths and getting nowhere. We will take one path, straight back to home, back to Godhead. That is our philosophy.
It's really fired up. Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami ki jai. Okay, are there any comments, chastisements, corrections, questions? Yes, Mataji? Yeah. Oh, good. Someone's already watching it.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was thinking, did you start with saying that veganism is demonic?
I can read the purport if you want.
It's from Prabhupada?
Yeah, it's here at the
I
beginning.
was thinking because it is also comes from a place of compassion.
Yeah, misplaced compassion. Just like in the...
I mean, it's easier, right? If they don't feel compassionate, they will eat cows. So what? If they don't feel compassionate towards animals,
Yeah, but
all those who are vegan, they'll be eating the animals, if you see. So in some way, I mean, please read Prabhupada's.
Okay. But one thing is that they also, it seems like they're saving the cows, but it actually puts the cows in a more precarious position because the cow lives in harmony with civilized human beings who milk the cow and protect it, and she actually gives so much milk, just like as if the human beings are her own calves. And in this way they're protected, but then they say, actually don't take the milk, it's not good for you, it's dangerous, and you shouldn't take milk from an animal and this and that. And then there becomes no use for the cow. And then what do you do with the useless cow? Then they still have the slaughterhouses.
I mean, Prabhupada's purport.
Yeah, here's the purport. This is the first purport in this chapter, text 3. Let's see. The leaders of the demons thought it unwise to hold the tail, the inauspicious portion of the snake. Instead, they wanted to hold the front, which had been taken by the personality of Godhead and the demigods, because that portion was auspicious and glorious. Thus the demons, on the plea that they were all highly advanced students of Vedic knowledge, were all famous for their birth and activities, protested that they wanted to hold the front of the snake. Purport. The demons thought that the front of the snake was auspicious, and that catching hold of that portion would be more chivalrous. Moreover, Daityas must always do the opposite of the demigods. That is their nature. We have actually seen this in relation to our Krishna consciousness movement. We are advocating cow protection and encouraging people to drink more milk and eat palatable preparations made of milk. But the demons, just to protest such protocols, are claiming that they are advanced in scientific knowledge, as described by the words Svadhyaya Shruta Sampanaha. They say that according to their scientific way, they have discovered that milk is dangerous, and that the beef obtained by killing cows is very nutritious. So the vegans don't say beef is nutritious, but they propagate this, the milk is dangerous and you shouldn't take the milk.
So I was thinking also, because if you go and show the compassion, everybody may not have the compassion. Saying that it is not good for you, is a way to tell them, okay, it's not good for, like, that's why I was thinking, like, it is not just cow for it, they don't take honey because, and even honestly, like last month or some, even, some of the devotee channels are saying,
Mean batteries?
it's okay, it has, it just got muted, it's okay. It's
Mm.
so that they go and drink all the milk, and then
Yeah.
the gopis will be so upset that there is nothing left. So it's I mean, some similarities. I'm not saying the part that we say it's not nutritious, because as I was saying, I was watching it on a Hare Krishna channel, which is a ISKCON channel. They were saying when they're with the machine exploiting the cows, with the milk comes the blood.
Mm.
And then when you're, when I give something out of my heart, that's a blessing. When I give because I'm pushed, that's a curse. So whether this milk is nutritious to my body, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, nothing that. I'm thinking from the vegan side of it. Like, we have many devotees who has got into, from veganism, coming to Krishna consciousness is much easier than otherwise, because they have given up, seeing the compassion. First seeing the compassion, it's a big step when you leave eating meat, doing all these things. And then onion garlic is something that they have to give up. But
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, Prabhu. So
One thing our spiritual master, he often quotes this thing. I think he might have had some devotee research it, or he just found it and liked it. But he often quotes this. They did some scientific study on, because like you said, there's that argument that if the humans take the milk, then there's not enough for the calf. But they did this study to show how much milk the cow gives,
Yeah, of course.
and the amount that's required for the calf. I don't remember the exact number, but it's something like 12%
yeah.
of all of the milk. So she gives ample milk, and if they're protected, they're actually very nicely, they're very happy to give milk to the people. If you see in, what was that, Murari Sevika is that farm. I was just there a few weeks ago, and this devotee who milks the cow, she goes and gets him if he's not there to milk her on time. So you could say, oh, he's abusing the animal, but I mean, she'll start abusing him if he doesn't go to milk her. She's very
that's
happy
a nature
to
to
give.
give, like the trees, it's nature to give. The cow's nature is also to give and not have the milk for herself. But what I'm saying is, when we torture them through the machine and try to, keep them pregnant throughout and
Yeah,
things like
that's
that,
why
that's
Srila
the
Prabhupada
torture.
never recommended this demoniac civilization or this slaughterhouse civilization or this two-legged animal civilization, all these names he gave for it. But he recommended that devotees start Daivi Varnashram farm communities where people can see proper human civilization, which means there's cow protection, there's simple living, higher thinking, there's more time for actually chanting Hare Krishna and practicing spiritual life. It's not that people have to work like an ass all day, so hard working from sun up till sundown, and then somehow squeeze in a few rounds like in the car, and then send their kid to a school where their kid is taught that they're not the gender they were born with and they should change it and all these things. But he said he wanted devotees to immediately, he said, at all costs, establish these Daivi Varnashram farm communities where they're always within the society of devotees. They work with devotees, they're growing food for Krishna, that food that they've grown, they cook it. Not that, like, I think there's some book a devotee wrote that says, Srila Prabhupada, you taught us how we can go to the grocery store to get fruits and offer them to Krishna. Something like this. I think he worded it in an even funnier way, but no, it's you can, that bhakti means to go to the grocery store and buy fruits for Krishna. But no, it means you live with devotees in a devotional community where you grow all the food for Krishna and the cows are protected. You've got all of your needs, and then you don't have to depend on the demoniac civilization.
Thank you, Prabhu. And the another thing I was thinking, when you're talking about this boy in shorts and eating chips and they are worshipping him as a god, I was hearing Guru Maharaj's class recently. It's an old one on Srimad Bhagavatam. And then somebody asked, like, I don't know if, this question came, if in Goloka there is surfing. And Maharaj said that you think Krishna, he tastes all the rasas. You think Krishna will let go the fun of surfing because he is the one who wants to have all the fun. And then he gave his example that when he came in, he was missing. He said, everything is fine, I gave up, but one thing I'm missing is the, beetles. And then he said, but then when I joined, I realized beetles were already there before me. So everything that we, desire for, it's the Krishna is the, the supreme most enjoyer. So maybe Krishna may wear, shorts, and maybe he can eat chips. But what I'm thinking, Prabhupada gave us a very simple test. He said, can he lift Govardhan? He might be wearing shorts, but can he, whenever somebody said rasa dance, you can do rasa dance to copy, but at the same time, you also have to lift the Govardhan. So that is a test whether somebody is, and then you also mentioned about, that it's the incarnation is all mentioned in the scripture, in the bona fide scripture. So if he is an incarnation, he should be mentioned. But I was thinking Krishna can wear shorts, but provided he lifts the Govardhan also, because that's what Prabhupada said, that's a test. So just wanted to know. Thank you so much, Prabhupada.
Yeah, a so-called incarnation has to be able to lift Govardhan. But at the same time, I don't see any descriptions of Krishna wearing shorts.
I was just saying that
or
Maharaj
Lord
said,
Chaitanya eating potato chips after seeing
because Maharaj was saying that surfing is there, so I was just connecting
he
that.
surfs on Kaliya. Whatever one is looking for in the material world, they see the perfection of it is there in Krishna consciousness and in the spiritual world.
Thank you, Prabhu.
It's a perverted reflection. I think Motsa Prabhu had a comment or a question.
Sorry, I'll skip Mahata Prabhu real quick because I have to go to work. Before I ask my question, I just wanted to say that I have great admiration for your work. You're distributing thousands of books, and I see every month you're distributing like 20, 30 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, so that's really commendable. But going back to Mother Anuradha's point, I don't necessarily see how you deduct from the purport that veganism is demonic, because I think the argument is that those who propose that milk is not nutritious, are the ones who are kind of like deviating from our teachings. But rather, in the West, where, we don't have any cow protection and cows are being injected with oxytocin to produce 3-4 times the amount of milk, I don't see how someone who sees that as demonic and don't want to partake on that, why would they be classified as demons? So that's
Yeah. I was saying the origin of this opinion that the milk is dangerous, and also of veganism. It's coming originally from the demons. He's saying their scientific way, they have discovered that milk is dangerous. This difference of opinion will always continue. It has existed since days of yore. Millions of years ago, there was the same competition. So there's so much propaganda trying to say, actually, don't take anything from the cow, and then the cow again becomes useless, and they keep getting slaughtered. So it doesn't, that, in the bigger sense, it doesn't help the situation, but yeah, kind of the the middle ground is, if someone's saying, okay, I'm not going to pay money to these companies that, and we see an industrial milk making facility, or milk stealing from the cow facility, it's probably very brutal. So if someone's saying, I'm not going to fund these companies or whatever, there's no problem there. But what's the real solution? It's that you create Daivi Varnashram farm communities where you protect cows, or you have cow protection. So if devotees show actually the proper way that human beings live with the cows and protect them, then that's the perfect way to do it. The cow's getting benefit by offering its milk to Krishna. It's protected. It's safe. It's happy.
No, but that would be given that you have that in place. But if you don't have that in place, then how do you support an industry? Because actually, if you support, the milk industry, you're supporting also meat eating, because milk is actually sells more than beef itself. So if you are supporting
that's the thing, is if we don't have Srila Prabhupada's instructions in place, if we don't follow them, then it's just like all sorts of bad bargains. Do you want like the burden on this shoulder or that shoulder? So yeah, it supports the meat industry in one way by funding some company that probably maybe also kills animals. And then by not taking it and saying that milk is bad and no one should take any milk from the cow, it also supports the meat industry in another way by saying that cows are just useless and then they go to the slaughterhouses. So if we don't have the instructions of the spiritual master in the center, then it's just all sorts of bad bargains, especially when it comes to the social sphere. There's so many problems. So, but therefore, Srila Prabhupada gave the solution to all problems in the form of his instructions, which are non-different from Krishna's instructions. So by following those, all these things are cleared up. But until we do that, then we're stuck in this. Do I have the burden on this shoulder, or do I have the burden on that shoulder? It's a very huge topic. So, but yeah, the solution to it is following Srila Prabhupada's instructions, establishing Daivi Varnashram farm communities, and distributing his books.
I appreciate that point. I just didn't see the connection, between saying like veganism is demonic, just because it's kind of like a very broad, statement to make. Like I was thinking of His Holiness Bhakti Sundar Maharaj. When I met him, he said that he wouldn't accept any. He's basically a vegan unless the milk is ahimsa. So most of his diet, he travels all over the world, and unless he's in India or if he's in a farm community like Itanagari, he would not partake on.
Yeah, I see most sannyasis do that, and that's nice. It's like it's a good standard that they're not taking milk from harmed cows, but they're not vegans. They never say that they're vegans. When they go somewhere where the cows are protected, they happily take the milk that's been offered to Krishna.
And then just one last point. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I think you quoted 723 in that purpose. Srila Prabhupada quotes Canto 12, where it says Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhuhu.